Hi, good night. Welcome to Conversation with Rickford Burke. Of course, I'm Rickford Burke here in New York, and we have a very important topic tonight. I hope that everybody will keep sharing the link. I see you're doing it already. Go ahead, share the link. Get all of our Guyanese brothers and sisters, whether at home or in the diaspora, tuned in. Share the link. Text me, let me know where you're watching from. Of course, you know what tonight's topic is. Very important topic tonight. We'll discuss the torture. Alleged torture of Jaheim Peters by police officers at the Vigilance Police Station, and he is 17 years old. I'll talk to his father tonight, Mr. Esse Peters. Share the link, and I'll be back in 60 seconds. All right, again, this is Rickford Burke in New York. Welcome to Conversation with Rickford Burke. Each person on here share the link. I see over 2,000 people on already. We're broadcasting from 3 Facebook pages and YouTube. Share the link, everybody. I keep saying to you, one of the problems we have as Guyanese, both at home and the diaspora, we do not spread information. So get into all of your Guyanese groups. Share the link. Listen, we have the trench crappers and the others busy trying to report to Facebook that this program is about sharing violence because, of course, they want to shut it down. But we know that's nonsense. We know we'll overcome that crap. So share the link, everybody. Get into your Guyanese group. Share the link. We have a very interesting program tonight. We'll talk with Mr. Esse Peters, father of 17-year-old Jaheim Peters, who was allegedly tortured by police officers at the Vigilance Police Station. Currently, there is an alleged investigation going on, and the police claim that they were investigating this matter. We saw already that the police has issued a false statement that's consistent with the Guyana Police Force line, saying that this young man burnt himself and tortured himself. I'm not sure how that is possible. How does somebody set themselves on fire? I'm not sure about that, but that's what the Guyana Police Force is claiming. So we're going to hear his side of the story tonight from his father. So share the link, and I'll be back in 60 seconds. And when we get back, we'll be talking with Mr. Esse Peters. Share the link. All right. Again, welcome to Conversation with Rickford Burke. So last Sunday, stories emerged from the East Coast once again that the police had tortured a 17-year-old young man by setting him on fire. This occurred at the Vigilance Police Station. Shortly after allegations occurred, we saw a video emerging with Jaheim Peters showing the burns on his body. And the young man stated that he was being accused of involvement in an armed robbery, and that during the course of that accusation, he had a scuffle with some police officer by the name of Europe. We now know it's Curtis Europe, Detective Corporal Curtis Europe, who attempted to hit him, or who was hitting him, and they had a scuffle. He said during that scuffle, he took a lighter out and set his t-shirt or jersey on fire, and he sustained significant third-degree burns about his abdomen and his rib. The police then subsequently issued a statement saying Jaheim Peters burnt himself. And the statement had a lot of inconsistencies. He was in a cell by himself. He was given a lighter by somebody. I'm not sure how a prisoner has access to people who can give him a lighter. Could you imagine if that was true and some other prisoner had burnt down Vigilance Police Station? Lacks in security, but the police has to come up with something. We know that whenever these incidents happen, either police-involved shootings or torture, the Guyana Police Force's first instinct is to lie. and lie and lie. So we know the police force has no credibility. We know that no one in the population believes what the police force says. So tonight we'll be talking with Jaheim Peters' father, Mr. Esse Peters. Okay, good night. Joining us now is Mr. Peters, Mr. Esse Peters. Good night, sir. How are you doing tonight? Mr. Peters, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. You hear me?
Good night. Good night.
I'm
How are you?
trying.
You're
Yes.
live. Welcome to the
Yes, I'm
program.
hearing you. I said trying. Yes, I'm hearing you.
Good. Okay, so we saw the
Welcome,
first.
sir. Thank you very much for having me on this program so the viewers could know the truth of the story.
Great. We're happy to have you. So
Yes, sir. This story with same, sir.
yes, go right ahead. What has your son told you about this
Yes, sir.
incident? Go right ahead.
Well, sir, before I go to that part, this problem with Mr. Europe and Mr. Tendel with these young guys is an incident what happened of vigilance before. They pull this guy for robbery before, and the guys had some kind of problem and they tell them to carry them on the seawall and shoot them and kill them. And they escape from there, get away from police at vigilance on the bench. So the matter went to DPP, and the DPP pressed charge on the police and throw the case out. So Mr. Tyndall and the same corporal, not there is a grievance with them and this youth because they get off on the story. So they after this youth with any robbery go wrong, they're gonna go and pick this youth up. I'm not saying if my son commit a crime or anything, but on the day my son asked me for money for go and buy funeral clothes because my brother died and he buried the same Sunday when he get born. And
we're very sorry to hear
I
that.
gave him $5,000 because we say we getting a lot of dead in the family, so we're gonna cut the colors out, cut the dead out. So we say we're gonna wear all over white. So I gave him $5,000 for go for buy funeral clothes, and I left and go over at Buxton. So when I left and go over at Buxton ground now, he called me and tell me that he the Vigilance Police Station. I go to Vigilance Police Station. When I go, yeah, other corporal on the desk name Tixie or something. And I asked you what the problem. He said I'm pick you up for some robbery. So I asked my son, asked the corporal permission for speak to my son. He said yes. The others was on the bench too. My son told me after I give him the money for going buy the funeral clothes, the police was on the road. They drive and pick up 2 Indian guy and pick he up. He and the next Negro guy up and said them commit some robbery. He said no, he going and buy funeral clothes. And they cry to the station, which in them get them there as juvenile. All of them was juvenile. Then give one of them bail, $10,000 bail. And they keep the 2 Indian and Jaheim back in the thing. Now they take Jaheim and the 2 Indian to Cove and John juvenile lock up. And in the morning, them bring back Jaheim alone and keeping that vigilance. Therefore, that intention by Mr. Europe was to torture Jaheim. That is the incident. I tried to forget Mr. Europe. He coming in, park his vehicle by Sadu shop next to Vigilance. He walk in. He don't tell the parents them nothing, even morning, nothing. When I call Mr. Tyndall Saturday, he said they had a meeting at Cove and John. And the head of the investigation unit investigating this matter. And he can't give a report about it yet. And they have to stay in custody. That was all I hear from Mr. Tyndall. When I visit my son, cry meals, he causing them cry meals and everything to eat for eat myself every day, 2-3 times a day. They check the food and everything. When they arrest him, then check his pocket and hand over ring to me. So they cannot tell me, my son, add light and how he get lighter. And then us check all prisoner when they put them on the bench to sit down. And how he light himself. How he light himself and he get anchor for his
Let me
foot
ask
and
you,
anchor for his hand.
Mr. Peters, let me ask you this.
So how
On what day was your son arrested?
a day when my son arrested was Friday.
Okay, so he was arrested on Friday. You said he was taken to
Yes,
vigilance,
sir.
then to Coburn John, and then back to vigilance, correct?
They bring him back to vigilance Saturday morning, he alone, and left the rest at Cove and John. When them asked me
Um,
for the boy certificate,
Go ahead.
when they asked me for the boy certificate, I told them that I can't find the boy certificate. I take out 3 slip and show them I apply for his own, his sister own, and me own. Which I have one, but we just apply, but I couldn't find his own. So happen, they said they can't believe though. I just show them the slip. I come home, I tumble up, I find the boy certificate. I take it back the same Saturday. And the corporal at the desk, he take a look at it, he send me to the CID, a constable CID. He have an Indian name I could identify and everything. A Negro guy. He flash it with the phone and he gave me back. He said, you're gonna show Mr. Tendell and Mr. Europe it. So them know my son was 17. They only saying that they had no identity of me son no birth certificate. Yes, them know his age, and they have a photocopy before the birth certificate too. So it's a
Okay.
grievance with these young guys and Mr. Europe and Mr. Tyndale. And I send a number to you on WhatsApp. There was one of the guys who in lock up when Mr. Tyndale then threatened me and Mr. Europe for shoot them. It and he went on Andrew Weeks show, but he black his face because he victimization. But he willing to talk to you. That is why I'm sending your number so you could call me on WhatsApp and we will speak to you. So this
Okay, sure,
cook
my
up with
producer.
my
My technical guys will get in touch with him. But let me say, I want to chronicle some of the things you have said. You said that he was picked up on Friday, but prior to that, there was a previous incident with Corporal Europe and some other officers where you said they picked them up and they had them on a bench. These guys allegedly escaped from the bench and they were prosecuted, but the DPP dropped the charges and instead prosecuted the police officers. Is that what you're saying?
yes, sir. And I knew, and before then, the decision was made by the DPP. I knew to cry my son 3 times a week at Vigilance Police Station, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. The news to go report there. And my son was the only one out of the set news to report there. So them know my contact number. So it's a premeditated thing. When they're borny,
And
them
how
didn't
how
call
long
me,
ago
get
was this?
on to me. Nobody knows until a nurse see this guy in the hospital. So them know what them have done. Barney BT and let you accept something that way you don't do.
I'm coming to
So it's a
that.
premeditated cook up.
How long ago was the first incident, the previous incident, when the police was prosecuted?
I get the paper when they went after the DPP throw it out. I get the paper when they had to go to Cove John for pre-trial because the police said it don't show, they can't do nothing, but they want a pre-trial with them for see where the police force went wrong. But I get the copy of the documents, I take it to the lawyer, I carry it to the opposition leader today too. Plus I carry to some of the news media.
All right, so I want to come down to the incident. Now, I spoke to a senior police officer in the Guyana Police Force today who said the process when people are booked, and I'll get to juveniles, but just generally, when people are booked, the prisoner is arrested, taken to a police station, and all of they're searched and all of their belongings are lodged, and then they're placed in a cell. In the case of a juvenile, that juvenile is then initially booked, all their belongings are booked, and they're then transferred to a juvenile holding facility with the intention of transferring them to Sophia. juvenile detention center. They're not supposed to be held at police stations. So my understanding is the process for a juvenile, that's somebody that's under 18 years old, should be they're arrested, they're taken to whatever police station close by, they're booked or whatever, or if they're taken straight to a juvenile holding, it's a holding facility, it's not where they're held permanently. They're supposed to be thoroughly searched to ensure that they have no contraband. If they have a wallet, money, whatever cash that is lodged, and a record of it is made, and everybody keeps sharing the link. This is important information. And then they're transported, if it's the juvenile, they're transported to a juvenile holding station. In this case, a juvenile holding station is vigilant, but he's not supposed to stay there. He's supposed to then be sent to Sophia Juvenile Center. This is what I was told by the police officer. Now, you said, and this is exactly what the police officer said today, he was thoroughly searched. He had a ring. They gave the ring to you. He had no lighter. There's no way he could be placed in a cell with a lighter, because a lighter is contraband. You can't be, you could either hurt somebody else, a police officer, or yourself with a lighter or any other weapon. So that's why they're searched thoroughly. And you're confirming that. You're saying that he was searched, everything on him was taken and lodged, and he had nothing, he had no lighter. Obviously, he could not have gone into cell with a lighter. The police are saying, however, that although he was in a cell by himself, he somehow magically got a lighter from somebody on a bench. What did your son tell you about that?
Sir, to be honest, my son didn't add any lighter in the present at the police station. They search him. Every time I cry the food, the clothes, is searched properly at the desk before they allow you to stand up 2 foot, 2 paces forward, you make, and you speak to my son. They don't let you go close to you. So at that day, the rest of juvenile was gone to Cove and John and then bring it back. So you had no juvenile on that bench. Now, Mr. Europe and Mr. Tyndall and Mr. Baird, who investigated this story in Georgetown, do cook her up in this story, sir. I was an ex-corporal from the Guyana Defense Force for 15 years. Full corporal for 15 years. So no military goes. I know how it goes. Until now, the Commissioner of Police and reached out to me. Only the commander, the Home Affairs Minister, and reach out to me. The AFC leader, and reach out to me. And many protests are going to AFC with the AFC party them. None of them reached out to me. And so, if me and my whole entire family have to take the street and protest for the rights of me son, for what they want to show everything for me, we will take the street. If it take days, we not no rich people. We not no rich people. I am poor young Negro guy. I run a lot of cricket club and a youth program for keep youths away from crime and all this other thing. I am a well-known young man in Guyana for develop people for keep away from crime and all things. So when Mr. Tyndall and Mr. Europe and Mr. Baird from Georgetown, you put in police to investigate police, none of them. They mustn't cook her up. These two police
Mr.
must
Peters,
get kicked out from the job.
I want your reaction to something I was just told. I was told by a police officer on the East Coast that the Guyana Police Force has gotten 4 persons to attempt to corroborate the story by Europe and the other rank. Meaning the police force has either come up with, find, manufactured, whatever, 4 witnesses that are claiming that they saw somebody give a lighter to your son. How probable do you think that is? If your son is in a lockup by himself, how can somebody get a lighter to him? Do you think that makes any sense? And how do you feel about the credibility of the Guyana Police Force? We saw that they lied in the Bacchus case. We saw the initial statement, which everybody has said it's a lie in your son's case, including several police officers who communicated to us and on other programs, to other talk show hosts, that the police statement is fictitious. It's a lie. What is your reaction to the police force that is lying through the skin of its teeth whenever these matters arise? And what is your reaction to the fact that we are now being told by police officers that they have gotten 4 people to falsely claim that they saw somebody give your son a lighter and that your son lit himself afire.
So, to be honest, that is a lie. They put it in a cell by himself with handcuff, a foot and the hand, and Europe and the other guy went in the work. Then wait till certain officer away, and then cry in the lockup, then light the pocket first. Start beating and he starts scruff back in the lockup with them. And then light the pocket, and then they out it, and then they light the jersey. So Mr. Europe and Mr. Tyndale, no matter who then get for cook her up, I'm going to need and get justice over them. I know they lie. The police force incompetent. I need justice for my son. It won't go down, so I need justice. Europe and Mr. Tyndale again are saying on this program must get kicked out from the job. Everybody, people get children too, you know. If he do anything, put him in front of the court and prosecute it. Let the court find him guilty. You don't burn people children. And then beat him back of the ambulance to say he do it.
I agree with you. Did anybody, they said the Office of Professional Responsibility is investigating this case. Did anyone who is investigating the case from the Office of Professional Responsibility contact you for a statement or to tell you anything?
So on the a guy in Eve Larry named Mr. Baird, a fat Negro guy. The commander sent me down to E. And he just alleging what he claiming for sir when he talked to me, that me son accepts sir, he light the fire because he beat him, and after the blood was more, he want to get to the hospital and beat him for sir. So and they even chuck you behind the ambulance too.
All right, so let's come to that. Your son on video camera said that he was beaten to admit that he lit himself on fire. What else did he tell you privately about the beating? Did he sustain any injuries as a result of that? Did he have any marks of violence about his body other than the burns?
When I visit him at the hospital the same day when I video him at emergency, when I go at emergency and see him, when I video him, yes, you could see the one coffee back on this thing, and the burn was stable, was real. Emotion come right away. I had to shed in tears to see my son burn up. So, and my son will never burn himself for fire. He will never do it. This is just a pack of lie.
Do you fear for your son's life that now that these powerful police officers, who the law give the authority to use deadly force against citizens on the circumstances, will abuse their power and in the future harm your son? Do you have that concern?
Yes, sir, because as I'm speaking to you here now, we have people who are at the hospital, like other brother and sister from the mother side. The mother died. You grew up with the mother. I bring you up. I never run away and left my children. I grow them up. I bring you up. And we working it as shift at the hospital. And every time we go there, we report to the social worker.
Mr. Peters, I want to address something. And it's something that we see happening all the time. Supporters of the government see these moments of truth. When you're talking about justice for your son, they say that we are spreading hate against Indian people. They're so ignorant. I mean, the officer is black. So the fact that we have a situation in Guyana where whenever you talk about justice for African Guyanese, some supporters of the government see it as either racism or you spreading hate against Indian people. They're not even stopping to think, how can we come to a just society? I mean, it might be an unfair question, but how can we have justice and social justice in a society like Guyana's when half of the population is not willing to accept these crimes or accept the fact that there are injustices perpetrated by the government or government agencies?
Sir, I work with an Indian person. The president of Guyana Cricket Board is an Indian. The president of the Marara Cricket Board is an Indian. The president of East Coast Cricket Board is an Indian. And he know I work with Indian, living with Indian. And I never disrespect an Indian and I never put racialism inside. The government got to say something for defend them. That is my son. And they will say something for defend the police force. Why they not go lose it now grass field? Why they not go lose it now east and lose it now west? Where they not go Annandale where Mr. Nandalal from the police patrol there every single night, 5, 6 times at night at Annandale Market Road. Why them not why them don't arrest people from over there? Just over by we have I work right at the road, strictly night shift as I speaking to you. Right? And you could see the harassment where they harass people over our side. They come down to the embankment, they go to East Villa and torment people. They're going to certain area and torment people. So this is not a race thing. This
Yeah,
is
you
not a
have
race
somebody
thing.
by
This is
the
why
name
I
of
give you the
Sanjay
number.
Singh. Somebody by the name of Sanjay Singh, and we should all make him famous. I'm gonna post his profile and his photographs with him and his family just now, because I think we have to cut this stuff out. Whenever there's a need for justice, or whenever there's an allegation against the Guyana police force by an Afro-Guyanese person, somehow these racists appear and they actually try to defend the Guyana police force because the government and them believe that the police force belongs to them, so they have to defend this injustice. It's incomprehensible. Now, I want you to comment forward on that. I want to go back to your son's case. Now, on what day specifically was your son burnt? Because he said he was arrested on Friday night. He was taken. When was he moved from Coven John back to vigilance, and on what day was he burned?
He moved from Coven John. He moved from Coven John Saturday morning and bring him back. I see my son every time I go and visit my son. I not see ask permission to speak with him because he's a juvenile and I know what Europe capable of doing. So on Sunday morning, they know that the uncle is burying on Sunday morning. So they burn him Sunday, feel that I wouldn't get time. And we want to know because they call me or anything and say, your son, as what them allege, said that he set himself afire. And nurse had to call me, police make no contact.
So even though
Mr.
the police
Kidaki.
officers know that your son is a juvenile, they had a previous contact with him. Mr. Corporal Europe knew that he was a juvenile. They made no contact with you. They still treat him as if he was adult. And they took him from Coven John back to vigilance. Did they at any time take him to the Sophia Juvenile Holding Center, which they're required to do?
No, none time, sir. Like I say again, they left the rest when they cried them to Friday night at Coven John. They left the rest up there. They give one bail the Friday. They left the rest up there and then bring E down back Saturday morning. So it was a premeditated thing for BT. And when I go there, they put me for stand up outside. The guys them at the bench, the same juvenile them. You get one number you could contact. They do what they think after them, add them on the bench, give one bail, try back to, and bring him back this Saturday morning. Therefore, they premeditate for torture. It's a premeditated thing. Why they bring E alone back?
And you, of course,
it's a
for those of you
premeditated
now joining us, he has a history with Corporal Europe. Now, who were the police officers that were prosecuted in the first incident? In the first incident?
With the first problem?
Yes.
With the first problem, sir?
Yes.
Well, the first problem was a sergeant. I can't remember his name, but he left the work now as a CID. But Europe is the person who bring them in. And Europe is the person who should relate to the sergeant. To be honest, the first sergeant who took the case, to me, was an even man 50-50. If you're wrong, he tell you you're wrong. He used to call the parents them in the room and he used to talk to them. And he used to put you for report every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And he used to book them in a book. What time they go and what time they left. So Europe wasn't pleased. He wasn't pleased. So that was the target. So depends on what the police says, or I could tell you they try to cover up with some for weakness and all this thing. It won't go down, so we're gonna fight.
I'm not hearing you. I think it would be like might be me. So just hold on there. I think I lost my audio with you. Hold 1 second and let my technical guys try, and I'll be right back. Just hold 1 second there. Let's see what was this issue here. Okay, great. I'm back. Sorry, about that, Mr. Peters. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
You hear me? Great. So let me come back to a question that I really wanted to talk to you about, which is your son in hospital. Your son had surgery yesterday or today. Is that correct?
Well, then sorry to cancel the surgery today for sometime in the morning when he go for dressing, and then gonna see the state of the bone, and the doctor said likely he should go for take treatment by 9 o'clock in the morning because it's
Okay.
getting worse.
Wow. It's probably infected. No, I posted photographs. We got photographs of your son chained, hand and feet, I think, at least feet, bound to a bed. He's a juvenile. Have you spoken to the police about that?
So well, since my lawyer have wrote the commissioner of police a letter, today they remove the handcuff and then put one handcuff on the 1 foot and handcuff it to the bed. So they remove it from the hand and one of the foot. So only one of the foot handcuffed to the bed.
So you're saying that when he went to the hospital on Sunday, he was burnt on Sunday, correct?
Yes, sir.
From the time he went to the hospital, from Sunday to today, he was handcuffed and shackled to the bed.
He wasn't shackled to the bed in emergency case. He had a police officer was there, a traffic police officer was watching him. He foot and the hand handcuff. And the born get the pay crying away for the born. And everything he tell me says how I could have record everything. Because everybody was a night in the hospital. Down to some doctors and nurse. Because they want to know how this man get born and contact this man family. How he get lighter and he alone went in a cell. give E the lighter. Why they didn't stop collect the lighter? And he was searched and the ring was handed over to me. That is a question I asking all the time.
So I want to make it very clear to the viewers, those of us, those who were just joining. He was thoroughly searched. He was arrested at by Mr. Europe at Vigilance Police Station. Was he first taken to Vigilance Police Station and then transferred to Cove and John, or was he taken at the time he was arrested straight to Cove and John?
The time he arrested, he got straight to Vigilance.
Right. So he was
Straight
taken
to
to Vigilance. He was searched at Vigilance. Then he was transported to Cove and John.
Your mic, sorry, I'm
Can you hear
hearing
me?
you. Your mic.
And that's because somebody's texting me and sending me a whole lot of messages on Facebook. Guys, could you stop sending stuff? Just stop. Stop. The person sending me messages and photographs, stop. Because it's disrupting Mr. Europe's feed to me. Just stop. Yeah. So he was transported to Cove and John from
On
Vigilance
Friday night.
on Friday night. Then he was transported back from Cove and John to Vigilance. Did anybody give you an explanation why? I know you have your own theory, but did the police say why he was transported back to Vigilance?
Police never say why you transported back. I asked the question over. I'm asking them on phone why, and nobody can answer. When you go every time, the people them at the desk saying, all them say they got to remain, and got to remain, then can shine a light on the investigation.
And did the police give an explanation why he was not taken to the Sophia Holding Center?
None explanation why you get arrested, nothing. Europe or Tyndale. So that is why I say it's a planned thing by the two of them.
And have you spoken with anybody at all? Either the ambulance drivers or anybody who moved. Were you there when the ambulance came to take him? I guess you weren't there,
No,
right?
sorry, like I say, after the burn, I didn't know he get born. He still a nurse call me from the hospital and say your son, he get born in the lockup. The police, nobody in contact me, none, because they want to cover up every single thing. If the nurse never know, we wouldn't know. We would have never know.
You said the commanding officer for the East Coast contacted you. Is that so?
Well, after the morning, from Andrew Weeks' program, Andrew Weeks do a thing, had me on the program. I go to Mr. Kidaki Abrams, right? And Kidaki Abrams was doing a program live to with it. And he tried to contact Mr. Parsham, which I know Mr. Parsham is not the commander anymore of this side. So lucky on the program, he get through to Mr. Simon, the new commander where I know good from Esse. I know his brother well. I know him for a little while. So he invite me to Cove and John and he tell me some investigation right away when the thing happened. He say even don't know the thing been happen until Mr. Kidaki Abrams Kali. So all the time was a cover up. So he said that he called the commissioner of police and Mr. Clifton Ekinstelly put the police under close arrest and let police and Georgetown come and do the investigation. Well, they don't know. Police investigate police. So after I went to Mr. Simon and he told me that, he called Mr. Baird from Ivlery and he gave me the direction. And I go to Mr. Baird, he listen me, he take a statement from me. After the statement, he tell me, my son accepts he get born. Yeah, he born himself. So I said, well, my son accepts he get born. How we get the lighter? Therefore, you give him the lighter. This is what I tell him. I say, however, you finish with me. Thanks and enjoy the rest of your day. You and your staff them.
So that's the investigation?
Yes, sir. Then he called Vigilance in front of me and tell Vigilance, and the police them, and he asks if Mr. Europe is there. Yes, then them don't move because they're coming up there.
Now, your son has said that he was beaten and forced to admit that he burned himself, even though we can practically see that's impossible. Did your son subsequently issue or write any written statement withdrawing that under the circumstances that he was forced to make that statement? That was a forced, coerced confession? Did he recant it?
He never.
Formally?
He never, sir. The police officer called me on Sunday at burial ground when my brother was burying about 5:30 and asked me if me could come down to Georgetown Hospital he got to take a statement for my son. I told him that I cannot come down there. If you want, he could wait till I come 6 o'clock to take a statement from my son. And he take a statement behind my back. And my son is juvenile. They don't contact the social workers who is there neither.
So you're saying the police officers went ahead and take a statement from your son, even though you told him not to?
Yes. Although I told the officer not to. And them even went back yesterday for a statement again.
And did your son give him that statement?
Behind the father back. They're not contacting the father. They're just going and provoke the poor juvenile now. Well, the child care getting now, and the social workers at the hospital, they getting now. So when they go now for any statement, the social worker is going to contact me now.
So did your son give them the second statement? And I told him not to give any
statement.
Okay.
I told him not to give any more statement without any parents.
But outside of that, the police force is aware that your son has a lawyer, right?
Yes, I'm aware. And they're not going through the lawyer procedure. They're just doing their own thing.
Because I saw the lawyer wrote the police commissioner a letter. So the police are aware that he has a lawyer. You're telling me that even though he has an attorney, the police went back to a juvenile without consent or the presence of the parents to get a second statement from him. Do you know what's the name of that police officer?
Well,
that went back?
To be honest, with the pain more than how the pain get he said, Daddy, we tomorrow when you come, I'm going to tell you the full and give you the police name. And the social workers at the hospital, they get the police name too.
Could you send that name when you get it, please, so that we can make it public? Because that is wrong on so many levels.
Yes, I will do that for you.
I want to come back to the confession. I want to come back to the so-called confession. Now, if the police officers had nothing to hide or to protect themselves, why would they want your son to give a statement admitting he burned himself? Why would they want a statement from him? If he burned himself, why they didn't just say, well, ambulance come, we have a situation here where a prisoner burnt himself? Why would they want a statement of confession? That's unusual, isn't it?
You might,
Can you hear me?
You might just know. You gotta say about that part. You have to say about that part. I'm hearing you.
All right, I'm saying it's quite unusual, isn't it, for the police to take a statement from somebody admitting that they burned themselves. When if there's an emergency and you call an ambulance, the first thing you want to do is dispatch the person to the hospital. You don't have time for them to take a statement saying, oh, I burned myself and I want to go to the hospital. That is very unusual, isn't it?
Yes, sir. And one more thing I want to touch on and let you know. Nabaklis have a hospital. Why you not normally go to Nabaklis hospital and then them forward you to Georgetown? Why they take him to Georgetown?
Good question. The police should answer. And again, I want for the viewers, I want you to hear this because I find that very curious. You can begin to see the building blocks for a cover-up here. Because if this young man had burnt himself, he's a juvenile, why not call his parents, lodge a complaint? This guy got a light, he's trying to burn himself. Why would you want to take a statement? I mean, that is very extreme. You can see that this is the beginning, that was the beginning of a cover-up. Why would you want to take a statement from a juvenile, even though you can't take a statement from the juvenile outside the presence of a lawyer or the family or a parent? You want to force him to say that he burnt himself, and in very strange circumstances. I just find this whole thing smell fishy. And what did you think of the Ghana police force when you saw the statement that he burnt himself? What did you think?
Well, like I said, Mr. Borg, I am ex-defense force member. I know how the police force operate. That is why I not skip away from them. I know how they operate. And since this incident happened, I not ride the road nighttime. I start ride with a satellite on my bicycle receipt because I know I am father of Jaheim. I know they're gonna come after me. I know the police force stay. So I am make sure I clear. I don't ride with lunch bag to come to work anymore. I ride with my bare pocket and my torchlight now and crescent. So if I get puncture, my quick release in my bag, in my pocket. So they can try for say, well, let's stop me and try for search me and say anything. When they stop me, I'm gonna pull out my pocket myself so they could see I will strip naked and let them see because I know they're gonna come after me. The Guyana police force, yes, get some good person, people, right? But you see the bad rep in the police force, you got to get rid of it. The government must face reality. The police force gonna cause them, the bad one in the police force. I got to get rid of the bad ones them and let them stop the
Um,
lie about this case. The
yes.
inconsequence.
Now, we also received some confidential information today stating that the police force intends to again lie and say they found a gun that Jaheim allegedly used for this armed robbery. Did you hear that?
Yes, I hear that. I hear that. But you catch this young man, you know, catch you with nothing. You catch you and catch you with nothing. You search you and overhearing everything to me. You don't catch you with anything. So where they find the gun, where Jaheim put the gun, how you know that it's Jaheim gun? They could go and pick up some gun or some old weapon from the police force and say that the gun Jaheim had.
Well, that's why I raised the issue tonight because, it seems as though the Ghana Police Force has earned itself a very notorious reputation of recent of lying and planting evidence on suspects. Um, Let me ask you this. What do you want out of this investigation? If the police force comes back and says their Office of Professional Responsibility has concluded based on witnesses, they claim they have these witnesses, and mind you, police officers on the East Coast are telling us that they're lying. So it is not you. We are receiving messages from police officers up and down who are aware of this issue, who are telling us what they're doing. So we could telegraph what the Guyana Police Force is doing because their own members who are disgusted and appalled at what happened here are telling us what they know and what they're hearing. What do you want to come out of this police investigation?
First, I need the two rank to be get fired, kicked out from the job. The incompetent. I need justice and I need compensation for my son. And my son must come out from there because we have to look him after. Nobody, no cell can look you after for we. My son born is terrible.
Do you intend
We
to
need it to come out
press
from the early as possible.
if the Ghana Police
What
Force
is the son?
investigation exonerates these two officers that are on close arrest, and now you're calling another officer, Mr. Tyndall, do you intend to press private criminal charges against them?
Yes, sir, I will go ahead. Because Tyndall threatened me too. I will go ahead with that. Because
What
that
did
is why I give you the other
what
prisoner number so you could make contact with you and you will hear everything for yourself. It's not me said
sure.
on Andrew Wick's program is the prisoner what was there. Shoot them in them spine. Kill all the young black chap in them spine. They're stupid. We're gonna shoot y'all and kill y'all out. Cause y'all stupid.
Well,
This one the
that's
prisoner
if
say
someone
that.
certainly did that, that's also a crime. And did you, when the police Office of Professional Responsibility interviewed you, other than your, sorry, back, strike that. Other than your meeting with Mr. Blair or whatever the officer's name is, did the Office of Professional Responsibility, as part of their investigation, interview you? Can you hear me?
You just have to say about the part for me, please.
I realize the internet is
Could
going and
just go
coming.
over the part aside because I break up the just so I didn't hear clear.
Sure, I'm saying as part of their investigation, the Guyana Police Force Office of Professional Responsibility interview you as part of the investigation outside of your meeting or whatever it was with Mr. Blair.
You just break up again, sorry. This always saying professional intervene in the matter, but me hear the rest.
No, I'm
Can you
saying
break up the just now again?
Did the Office of Professional Responsibility formally interview you as part of their investigation?
Well, as I was saying, when I went, Mr. Simon invite me. He sent me to Mr. Beard. That the only person he tell Mr. Beard plain. The father got to be a part of this thing here, and you need to take a statement from the father. So come I go to Mr. Blair or Beard and give a statement. But like I said, nobody else ever called me for give a statement. Nobody else.
And
none
did
of the
you
CID were in the case, nothing.
In that statement
no
that you give to Mr. Beard, in that statement that you give to Mr. Beard, did you specifically state that the police officers threaten that they'll kill these young men?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I stated and I tell you could go on Andrew Wick's newscast and catch it too.
Okay. Well, we'll find out from that young man if part of their as part of their investigation they did interview them. But I want to come back and button up this interview by discussing the process. I want to be very clear to the listeners. The police process is when someone, outside the fact that this is a juvenile, just anybody, once you're arrested, you search thoroughly before you place into a cell. In the case of a juvenile, they're not supposed to hold these juveniles at police stations. They have to take them to a holding facility, the juvenile facility at Sophia. And you're saying, again, I want all of the listeners to understand this. They never contacted you. They held your son for what? How long did they hold him before they contacted you?
The police never contact me and tell me my son at the station, or they never contact me and tell me my son get arrested or bond. Like I saying, it's just people just notify my family there right away. I say, look, I'm going down here. This is the car we get. So y'all must not left. So they can say, set me up and said, they just see me here and just see me there. So I let them know where I go because I know what the police force is capable of doing.
So your son was arrested on Friday. When did you learn that he was arrested?
The same Friday, he himself, after he had the phone, he called me. And he phoned everything. The phone and over to the next prisoner. Because the next prisoner get bail, he give the next prisoner for giving me the phone. And they call me and search me in front of me. He search in front of me. Like I say again, and they hand over the ring. They take off the belt,
so
everything
they
he
searched
had
your
on.
son thoroughly in front of you. This is at Cove and John Police Station.
Vigilance.
At
the
Vigilance.
Same day he get
So it was
arrested.
after that search, they sent him to Cove and John. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I'm listening you.
So after you
after the
saw them
search,
search,
them send him to Cove and John.
Right. Did you visit him at Cove and John?
No, I never visit him at Cove and John because it was a night. I visit, they bring me back the early morning back to Vigilance where I cry breakfast for him.
Right.
Because
And
I
you're
didn't know
saying
that.
they sent him and all the other juveniles to Cove and John, but he's the only one that came back.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And at no time did they
He wa-
take him to the juvenile holding facility.
No, sir, they are in vigilance all the time. So that is why I say it was a premeditation for born touching.
Exactly. Now he stayed there on Saturday night. On Sunday, so throughout the day on Saturday, on Sunday, he had a confrontation with Mr. Europe. For those who are just joining us again, could you tell us, based on what he related to you, how did that confrontation with Mr. Europe go?
Well, what he told me, they put him in his cell himself. And he tell me he don't look and see the two police already. And he don't observe because there was sussing and thing. And after they put him in the cell, they go in the cell, Europe, and start coffee. And then Europe operates in the corner, light the packet, and then it out. And then after this coffee, he never expect the buy. Can't over Jaheim tell me. He never expect Europe, but they expect for no he's so tough as a slim. You could see body, he's not no big strong man for rough with it. Cause Europe slim too. And then when Europe light with the lighter, I jersey. So how he reaching himself with lighter, Jaheim, that is the question all the time. Therefore, all the police should get kicked out. As what they claiming for say some prisoner give you lighter. Who is the prisoner? Then you claim say now 4 persons see. So why the 4 person brought attention to the police? Look, Jaheim have a lighter there. That story don't make any sense.
Now, also, do you have his clothing?
Did you want what? What?
Do you have his clothing?
He closed.
The clothes that was burned. Where is it?
That was tear off. He said that was tear off by the police and tear off and calling the fire service. Europe never expect the fire with a blaze, so that is what he tell me.
Europe told you that, or your son told you that?
No, my son told me Europe never expect the fire with a blaze, so
right. So
that's why how
after the
come they
clothes
calling the fire service and the ambulance.
So do you know where the clothing is? Did the police retain that? Is that part of the investigation, or you have it?
No, they don't retain that. When I go to the hospital, I only see Jaheim with the pants and the old skin born up. And you see with no
Was that
top.
the same pants where the pocket was burnt? The
If
pants
it was
sorry,
born,
the pants that was burnt? I'm
just a spot
saying,
of the
is that the
pants
same
born, but the
pants? Did he
whole
have on the
entire
same pants that was
chest.
burned?
Yeah, a spot and the whole entire chest. It's terrible. Who gonna see it? It's terrible.
Who has the pants that was burned, that he lit first that out? Who has that?
His sister collect it for cry to him for wash it. So I'm getting in contact with she in the morning. Cause we
Okay,
work
so
it by
is there
turn
a
at the
burn mark?
hospital.
Is there a burn mark on that pants?
Yeah, it's just like one or two, one. Yeah, I get burn mark on it. I didn't, to be honest, I wouldn't lie. I didn't like really check the pants because right away me emotion, right away like I feel like I been want to get blackout. So the only thing I could have do.
Mr. Peters, let me hone in on something here. Are you telling me that the police is conducting an investigation into whether or not the police committed a crime by lighting your son's clothing on fire? And these so-called people from the investigators from the Office of Professional Responsibility did not collect the clothing?
They not collect them. They didn't collect your clothes. They didn't collect your clothes.
So what kind of investigation is this?
That is what I want to know all the time. Let them come straight. Then collect your clothes.
So now you're saying that Europe lit his pants first, But the police doesn't have the pants to verify that or to analyze
They
it.
don't have the pants. They don't have the pants.
I think after this interview, they might come to you for the pants.
They can't come to me for the pants, so they'll come to me for the pants. His sister don't collect everything and go for wash it. His sister live with me. And then can't come and ask me no question concerning pants.
Wow. All right, so Peter, this is very. I'm sorry, we are not accustomed to this level of incompetence by police officers. I live in a different society where we see real accountability. And my father was a police officer on the East Coast. I grew up basically in the police force, and it kind of hurts my heart to see how tarnished and destructive the police is to itself, and how tarnished the Guyana force has become. I mean, the image and credibility of the Guyana police force is in tatters. No one in the country can believe the police force. And I'm wondering, how do we correct this? Is it retraining? Is it leadership? Do we disband the entire Guyana police force and start to form it back? Like, how do we begin to repair the significant damage by this police force from the level of the police commissioner right down that was allegedly appointed unconstitutionally? We have police officers who were very junior to people acting in senior officers, superseding people, police planting evidence on people, police killing people, and the force lying. I'm not sure. What is your view of, well, not of the Guyana police force, but how do you think the Guyana police force can regain its credibility as the primary law enforcement agency in Guyana?
So, to be honest, the whole entire police force got to stay away from politics. From politics, we need proper more training for police officer, also the army too. We need proper more training. I've been joining the army. They get proper training. You go overseas, you do proper training with other, like trade, when exercise, RSS and these things. You don't have them system though in place anymore. You have to get police who willing to do the job and work in the work, and let all citizens must get equal justice and right. You must be honest with what you're doing. You're all in the Bible, the Quran, or the Bhagavad Gita, or whatsoever you're all, and swearing. You swear for yourself. You swear to look after the citizens of the country. And the politicians, them need to keep them nose out and let the police force run properly. And proper training. Afternoon, evening classes. Then our time in the years ago, this time different. You cry them on the road, you show them the difference, what they should do, and all this, how they should handle crime on the road. People going about, officers going about doing different things now. We need proper system in place, proper police trained properly, who do their overseas training, they pass, you promote them. You gotta do proper background check with police. And I want before you close up, sir, I want the police officer to know you have children and you won't like that happen to you children them. So who gonna try for cover up and who gonna try for go as far as weakness? There is a God, and me get a black tongue when me pray and give me justice. Just like how other police officers start spit it out. There's a cocker up. You get some straight up police officer will whisper and some won't whisper. Because some want to come out and talk, but then job, and they get a family to maintain.
Thank you very much, Mr. Peters.
That's for the police officer. Them.
We're very sorry for what happened to your son and what your family is going through. I understand that you've lost 3 members of your family. You've had 3 funerals within the last month or 2 months. Is that so?
Yes, sir. That is true.
Well, our condolences with your hardship with you and your family members.
4, sir.
4? You lost 4 members of your family within the last 2 months? My goodness. We'll keep you in our prayers, you and your family.
3 months time. My 2 uncles' son, my auntie daughter buried last Friday, and my brother buried Sunday. And my brother very close to Jaheim, and he couldn't come to the funeral. All them could have do with the juveniles them is just put them on self-bail, let the parents sign for them, and return back them to the station on Monday morning or something. Don't get them in the lockup all the time.
We're very sorry and accept our sympathies from this program. And we'll keep you in our prayers. We hope that Jaheim will recover from the scars of this horrible torture. We think it's torture. And I think at some point in time, we have to reach out to the international communities because there are international laws against torture. And if these police officers are not prosecuted in Guyana, they can be prosecuted internationally. And we'll be following up with that. I want to thank you for taking the time off to come on this program to tell the world your story. And we wish you well.
Thank you very much, sir. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you. You too. Okay, thank you very much for listening. That was Mr. Esse Peters, the father of Jaheim Peters, the 17-year-old who was allegedly tortured by two police officers stationed at the Vigilance Police Station on the east coast of Demerara. Of course, the police said there's an investigation. The police issued a statement saying that Jaheim Peters, who's the victim here, burnt himself. Obviously, that cannot be true. The young man has denied it. He has also accused the police of beating him to confess to this, that he burnt himself, which is very strange. I mean, I'm not sure why the police would want a confession if they didn't have something to cover up. We hope that the police is conducting a thorough investigation. We heard today that the police has gotten 4 witnesses to try to corroborate their story. Let's see how those witnesses hold up in court. I hope that they file private charges, criminal charges, against these officers if they're not prosecuted by the DPP. And I am aware that Mr. Peters has signaled to the Guyana Police Force, rather, that he intends to file a civil lawsuit. And the first step in that process is a pre-action protocol letter, which was sent to the Guyana Police Force 2 days ago. Thank you very much for watching. Let's keep an eye on the story. Let's keep an eye on the Guyana Police Force to ensure that the Guyana Police Force operates with integrity, even though we know they probably can't, and some level of human decency. The Guyana Police Force is at a sad state, from the police commissioner being unconstitutionally appointed to the police killing several Black citizens and covering it up, the institution covering it up, to now this torture. Guyana is in a dark place once more, and it only happens when the PUP is in power. Watch this space. Have a good night, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.